This episode is brought to you by Americas Rehab Campus. Get on the road to recovery with the best rehab in beautiful Arizona. Dial 1-833-272-7342. That's 1-833-ARC-REHAB.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the Archer.
So we give them transitional living in our program. Still does some good shit, dude. Come on, man.
And the headphones are in the drawer right there, bro. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Arcast. My name is Buddha.
I'm Dustin.
And I'm Matt.
Yes, thank you guys for joining us.
So we got a special guest for you here today. I've known this guy for about, 13 years?
Yeah.
About 13 years. Too long. Great dude, but I'm blessed that he did make this drive down here. I wanted him to come down and do this for a long time, so let me introduce Jason.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands up. Give it up to Jason. What's up, man? Packed audience, huh, bro? You weren't expecting that.
Yeah, are you serious?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah, you traveled down here from Phoenix?
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a discussion earlier. I know you said that you've been in Arizona since you were 6 months, right?
6 months old, yeah.
6 months old, native.
So, yeah, I was a Broncos fan. I was a born a Broncos fan because
There you go.
that's where all my family's at. My grandma used to knit these like slippers, you know, orange and blue or all orange, however you want them. They had this fuzzy ball on top. No street credit, right? Just unless you had it like that, you know. I'd rock them today and then
hell
say
yeah.
something, you know, go ahead. But we didn't have a football team here, man. And so it took a few years, but, you know, eventually I got to cheer. I got to root for the Rasa, you know what I mean?
That's what's up.
So they'd be my second favorite. Yeah. Greeley, Colorado, man. My dad moved us down here when I was 6 months old.
6 months old.
I know it seems a little weird. You get used
I hear
to
myself.
this black thing right in your face.
Yeah.
You just zone it out.
Yo.
Well, I wanted Jay to come on because right here's the best storytelling motherfucker I've
Heck
ever
yeah.
met in my life. I told Buddha a little bit about the lightsaber out there in the out there in the alleyway behind the house that one time. But I said, we need somebody that's got some good stories, and he's the best storyteller I know.
All right.
But
A little bit about growing up. So, what was it like growing up in your household?
growing up in my household, man, may the force be with you, man. Lightsaber. I tell you what. Hey, you know what? My house was, I don't know what I should say here, man. I feel weird. This mic's in my face and everything. My house was, to be real honest, it was chaotic, man. It was walking on eggshells, you know?
Yeah.
It wondering what the temperature was all the time. You got to have your feelers out, you know, knowing which way dad's going to be, you know. And my dad and I was talking to my dad on the way over here.
Okay.
And life is funny like that, right? So my dad, hindsight, everything's hindsight. And we're human. We make mistakes, and we all come from somewhere. But what I know today is that I was a very sensitive being, and I was born into a family with a father that came from the opposite of that. He's one of 10 kids.
Wow.
And Italian family. Well, my grandma, actually, she came from Germany, and my dad's dad came from Italy, and he was abandoned when he was young. My great-grandfather killed his wife and then himself in a jealous rage.
Shit, dude.
So my grandpa and his sister went to an orphanage You know those old movies where they got those little street gangs running around, like little kids with little derbies on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally like 6 years old up to
Yeah.
10, 11, like that, running away from orphanages. And you can only imagine what that was like, you know?
Yeah.
The stuff that they don't talk about. People of that generation don't talk about. But my grandfather was an angry, violent dude, you know? And he did not discriminate. Why? The girls, the boys, everybody, you know?
Yeah.
And so what I know now is that from my dad's point of view, my dad was a black sheep in his family, man. He's a published artist, right? He's a painter, sculptor. One of the most amazingly talented artists I've ever met in my life to this day. Intelligent, one of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life. And he's just an absolute nonconformist. You know, he was a dick. He was a dick. It is what it is, man. And but in his eyes, from his experience, he was nothing like where he came from. But to me, you know, and my mom couldn't have been two more opposite people. That's what I was just talking about with him, was just, I think about sometimes where this dude came from, right? Because I have a cousin, it would be a second cousin, I guess, that just passed away a couple days ago from alcohol poisoning.
Sorry to hear that, man.
He was an actor. Yeah, he was Days of Our Lives. He was Cody Longo is his name, and he's my uncle's son. My uncle has 10 kids. I think he's the oldest, second oldest of his kids, and he was raised similarly because we are offspring of that family, and just the most. I still, even with 50 years of experience of life, I look at that family, and my sister and I will talk about it like, just what an absolute insane environment. You know, we would go back to visit, right, when we were kids at Christmas. And it was like, we wanted to go to my mom's parents' house because that's where their country, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of alcoholism, but at that age, it was still fun. So they were having fun, you know, and not paying attention to what we were doing. I had cousins and we ran around and did the whole thing. And at my dad's family's parents' house, it was like there was this tension, man. And it was that tension I talked about a second ago in my house, but amplified. I saw where it came from, you know. And it was like you'd show up and it was, hugs, you know, it's like, oh, I miss you, you know, very loud people. The women are loud, like my sisters. If you saw my aunts, Matt, you would, they hardly even knew each other, really. And they're just like my aunts, loud Italian women. Like the last person I'd want to be with is a dude. You know what I mean? Those are my sisters. I love them with all my heart. But, you know, my dad used to tell me, nobody's going to marry you, man. You're too opinionated and loud, whatever, you know. But it would be hugs and this and that. And at some point, there would be knockdown dragouts, like fights, like abuse, man, physical, you know. And we're just like, whoa, you know, and then you're leaving, and it's like, you know, I don't know, I don't want to go on. I squirrel off, man. So you got to keep me rounded up, but you know, I witnessed where a lot of that came from, and
what shaped you into how you grew up, right?
Yeah,
No shit. Hey, that's my bike, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here it is I was a sensitive kid, man, and shy, man, painfully shy. Like, oh, this is my son, Jason, you know, and then grab your mom's dress and, like, you know, look in, you know, and bury your face in her dress.
Yeah.
And I just remember being uncomfortably sensitive like that. And other kids, like, you know, being like, there's kids that are bullies, kind of, and then they will find other kids to pick on. You know what I'm saying? And I can remember feeling like that guy, like you're like a flashing light. Like I was that kid, you know, and I was uncomfortable like that.
Yeah.
And then my dad whooped that out of me by the time I was 12.
Damn.
Right. And I started to become this personality that I created for survival, you know. And of course I wanted to be accepted by my dad, you know, and you mix that in there with some pent up emotion
Yeah.
from being, physically hurt by your father. You know what I mean? And, shit that he did would, you'd be arrested for today, if you did that to your kids, the disrespect and the humility that comes with a open hand smack to your mouth, you know what I mean? In public, in a grocery store, whatever, that feeling. And you say, hey, my heart hurts, right? Or like, you hurt my feelings. You say you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And you get that sensation, right? Behind your heart, kind of in your chest there.
Mm-hmm.
I had that all the time.
Man.
And I remember there was this kid, man. His name was Greg West, okay? You have moments in your life where they're epic moments, man. And what are you laughing at?
I know this story.
Well, this is just kind of one of those times, man, where it was like the quintessential bully, man, right? The freckles, the red hair, everything. He always had a gang of
O'Doyle rules.
Yeah. O'Doyle, yeah, dude.
I have a feeling your whole family's going down.
Exactly, dude. So this dude would chase, I would avoid him at all costs, man. Back in those days, when you wake up, man, it's the mission is eat your breakfast and get out of the house, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I'm going to get on my bicycle, man, and I'm going to ride. I'm going to cruise the hood, dude, until I can't be out here anymore. And at that time, it was like, I got to avoid O'Doyle, dude, and no matter the long route I went, whatever, there he would be, and I grew up over by Kiwanis Park down in Tempe, and I remember when they first put that water in the hole, man, and he'd throw my bike in there, man, and all the kids are laughing and shit, and I'm too scared to do anything. Like I'm frozen with fear, and then I would get home and he took me, put my bike in, and I can remember. I remember my mom even said one time. She said something that made me go, "But he's tough," and my mom saying, "But you're tough too, Jason. Damn it," or something, She was tired of seeing it. And one morning, it was a Sunday morning, I noticed my dad was home, and I came home, he put me, and my dad goes, that's it, and he starts putting on his shoes, and I remember he had the ugliest ass, purple and gray, Stacey Adams, like his church shoes, man. And I'm looking at those shoes, and he's lacing them up. He goes, we're going to take care of this once and for all. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, you're going to go down there and you're going to fight this kid. And I'm like, hey, what? You must have bumped your head, man. You know what I mean? You're crazy. What? And, but I was more afraid of him than I was Greg West,
Yeah.
And, he took me down that street, man, and they were down there playing. I remember, and he said, look, you're going to go up there and, you're just going to tell them, let's get this on, once and for all. And man, I didn't like my choices, man, but I had to pick one,
Yeah.
And so I rode my Huffy bike down there, man. And he looked at me like, it was like, what are you doing here, And I threw my bike down, man. And I remember I had a couple like little friends that were around there, but, they weren't the flashing light, right?
Yeah.
I was. And then I threw that bike down. I said, let's get it, or however I said. And we towed up, man. And it was like, I remember throwing haymakers, almost for looks, kind of like he would swing, I'd swing, and then I grazed him, dude. I grazed his nose, dude, and it was like pause, right? And I'm thinking he's gonna be pissed now, dude. I'm thinking, oh shit, and tears started to puddle up, and man, he came back and he whopped me, dude, and fucking bop, 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 and hitting into the ground, and he's on top of me, and he's putting it on me,
Yeah.
And my dad always said, man, if you just would have followed that up with another one, it would have been done so, And I just saw him lift up off of me, and brother, I walked home with and the kids were like, whoa, hey, what? Like, oh, it's an adult, wait, that's your dad, and boom, he picks me up, that's it, that's enough, right? And I walked home with my dad, and it was a block away, but it felt like a mile, dog, and silence, humiliation, fat lip, bloody nose, crying, and I just felt the disappointment. And I remember I went to my room, And I sat on my bed and I had this revelation. And it was like, that didn't even hurt, man. It didn't hurt physically. It hurt my feelings.
You can get over
But
that.
it didn't hurt, man. Yeah, right? So when you're taking whops from your dad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to some kid in 4th grade or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And I said, this is never going to happen to me again in life. And then there began the fucking saga, dude.
Hell yeah.
And that was it, man. I grew up in a school that was, we were, I would say we were, low income, home. And we grew up I lived right on the border of the town of Guadalupe right there.
Okay.
And so I was a minority in my school, man. A lot of Mexican kids and a lot of Yaqui kids down in that neighborhood. And, different places. One's judging the other, and you have that. And plus you have your inherited racism that comes, and it's somebody different, you don't know and whatever. But what I always realized is I always had this feeling there's more similarities with me and them than there's differences, And I'm trying to curb my cussing and everything here, And
What the fuck for?
Okay, all right. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Why do you think I brought you on?
most kids are most white kids are afraid of color, man.
Yeah.
They're afraid of color, and I never was. I was like, fuck you, you know what I mean? And let's get it. And it was on, dude. And you couldn't keep me out of the principal's office. I was in there fighting every day, and it was like I had my own seat. I had a couple of these, and it became a challenge, right? I was like, I know I could, because I did a little bit of wrestling, and that. My dad, when I was young, dude, my dad, I remember him like fighting me against his brother's kids, and
No shit.
yeah, like we were
Organized.
dogs, yeah, like fighting the neighbor, and actually our dogs, the neighbors' dogs barking at each other. Finally, they just let them go at it, like that kind of shit. And I was always losing, because I was the shy kid, whatever, right? So I had something to bring to the table, man, and I started to hone my skills, dude. And I would look at somebody, no matter how big, and I'd think, this is what I'm going to do, and I'd execute, bro. And there was no, you couldn't lose, because I was the little flaco, skinny kid, white kid, dude, little toe head. Like, I know you think you're going to whoop me. This is the best part.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
And dude, I was doing the ground and pound before the ground and pound was the ground and pound, right? Because I was just more comfortable that way. But I remember, dude, it started to give me a sense of power, identity. I was the tough kid, and the bigger they got and the older they got, the more my credentials went up. And they'd talk about me, hey, you heard that kid, that dude, and then when I got to junior high, I remember, guess who I ran into first day of school? He's a year older than me, so he's in 8th grade.
Your boy. O'Doyle.
O'Doyle.
Fucking O'Doyle.
Yeah.
His older brother now. That's that other kid in the movie.
Dude, look at yeah, first day of school outside of PE, just outside of there, dude. I choked that dude till he fell asleep, and then a boot party. And I had somebody remind me of that. That was a I was in the car business for a long time, and my GM, he was a year older also. And he goes, and I had forgotten about that. He goes, man, something? He brought me in his office. He goes, something I was remembering the other day? I remember that first day of school, man, and Greg West took you out there at PE, and I thought he was going to whip your fucking ass, dude. And he said, I thought you were going to kill that motherfucker. I thought he was dead. You know what I'm saying? He goes, that was fucking awesome.
Years of aggression.
Yeah.
That's my bike, bitch.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
rusty chain from Kiwanis Lake. All this shit.
All that's pouring out. And
After you beat his ass, like after you guys fought the first time, did you see him like often after that, or was
I would bump into him, but it was nothing. You know what I mean? It was like you just walked by. So I wasn't afraid of him anymore. And he didn't fuck with me anymore.
Okay.
Here's the funny part, man. Perception, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned this to my dad because here, dude, I mean, like certain things that I work with on today, to this day with myself, we try to, you have things that affect you and have driven your addiction and driven parts about you. Here are a lot of these things that I deal with that were in essence caused by my relationship with my father and being the oldest and him not really knowing how to be a father, man, and learning on me, Though this same guy I talked to and I say, I love you, just right before I pulled in here. And, we've talked, man, and I was telling him that story and he goes, Jason, don't you remember coming up to me when I was, he was an architect, and I come to my drafting table and saying, Dad, I feel just really bad, that happened. And you don't remember me telling you, it's all right, kiddo. You win some, you lose some, man. But the key is that and I didn't remember any of that, bro. All I remembered was the humiliation and the feeling on the way home. I completely blocked out that part. It never occurred, Yeah. And so your memories are as you retell your story.
It's your own perception. It's not the reality.
Exactly. I hated my dad, man. And he was abusive to my mom. And I have a sister 6 years younger, but he never touched her, right? So she was his favorite. And it was that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I followed the quintessential stereotypical path, right? Mm-hmm. So we know that, I can remember hearing the whispers, like neighbors, that kid's going to end up in prison. He's like, he doesn't have a chance, that whole shit. And I just fell right into it, right? Mm-hmm. My man, there's kids that grew up in South America, bro, like living in a shanty, peeing in a hole in the ground, dog. They become doctors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we all know that. Mm-hmm. There's a choice there somewhere.
Yep.
And my choice was just to take that route. Mm-hmm. And
for some of like the growing up, the part that, being that shy kid and all that stuff, and then here all of a sudden you find like that meaning, and that meaning for you is that I want people to be afraid of me.
Exactly.
Because if they're afraid of me, they're gonna like me. Yeah. Kind of thing, right? And that just like
they're not gonna hurt me.
Yeah, they're not gonna hurt me emotionally. Because physically, like we said, doesn't fucking matter. But
that's right.
It's that protection mode, and keeping people at a distance. So then, you got into junior. When did you start using drugs or drinking? Was that junior high?
Junior high, man. Yeah. You guys ever see that movie with what's that dude's name, man?
Superbad.
No,
movie.
They did.
People don't forget.
It's about the Bondurant family.
Oh yeah.
What's that actor's name? He's great, man. He's great.
It's Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
And
cool.
Shia LaBeouf.
Lawless.
Oh yeah,
great movie.
Okay,
Great
well
movie.
he has a quote in that movie, man, and he nailed it, and that's what it was for me. When the younger brother went and got his ass whooped, and he come back and he says, "Well, what are you gonna do now, man? Basically you made us all look weak, man. Like what the fuck are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna do shit, man. You know what I mean? You're all bark, no bite." But what he told him was, it's not about how tough you are, man. It's about who controls the fear. How far are you willing to go to control the fear? Mm-hmm. And that is what I mastered, right? Mm-hmm. To an extent, right? You only have to do enough to keep them afraid of you out there. Mm-hmm. The stories are better than reality.
Yeah.
They come back, man, time you did a flying judo kick. You're just not.
It didn't look that good.
You're like, yeah, man, that shit didn't happen, man. It never fucking happened. Dude. Matter of fact, he cracked me.
Kicks.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think he kicked my ass. I don't know. He definitely had some losses along the way. Yeah. But again, a sensitive guy, man. Like when I heard me. I wasn't allowed to listen to rock and roll music when I was little, man. My dad was going through this thing where he's a painter and a sculptor and rock music, I wasn't allowed to watch Happy Days, bro, because it could have been bad influence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank God for that, right?
Yeah, right.
Imagine
would
if
have been just different.
Matter of fact, if I would have watched Happy Days, man, I've been done, huh? If I was still in prison, huh? Anyway. First time I heard music, a rock and roll song, dude, it was on the radio. It was a John Lennon song. And it came on the radio, and I was like, Mom, who is that? She said, that's the Beatles. It was the song Imagine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it blew me away, dude. I was like, what? And she took me to the store. There used to be this grocery store called Smitty's. And they sold all kinds of stuff. You guys remember Smitty's?
Missing Smitty's, dude.
Dude, and she bought me Meet the Beatles, their first record. And I put that on my Ladybug record player, homie. I'm telling you something. She Loves You. Yeah, dude. I got chills down my arms, man. And I was like, oh my God. And those guys are way before my time. Dude. I mean, I'm old now, but that was my parents' shit,
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a Beatle, man. That was it, And
Luke Skywalker. That was early.
Star Wars was cool too. My lightsaber dagger. It was a dagger.
So like,
It wasn't a full saber.
so before that, did you guys ever listen to music in the house, or was it just kind of?
It was K-Light, whatever my mom would bump, on the orange speakers, with this.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know why I even said that, but appreciation for art and music, I always had it in the back of my mind, right? I wanted to be a Beatle, man. And I kept getting older. And then I started fucking with drugs, right? And I remember when the first time we had these stoner kids that lived next door, but they were like in high school, and we would watch the one dude walk to his band practice, and he would smoke a bong, he would ditch it in these bushes. And so we were waiting, like little rascals, dude, like waiting for this dude to, and then we went and snapped his bong out of the weeds, and we're like, let's hit it. And I can remember being like, yeah, let's hit it. But man, I did not want. I was scared of it. We had the drug class where they brought the glass case and all the shit.
Dare
Just say no.
And being like, wow, this shit looks really cool, dude.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, can I touch it? And anyway, I would take that first hit, whatever, dude. And first time I got high, dude, I did not like it, man. But I just kept doing it because it was part of this persona, dude. I was a bad boy, dude. That's what I was. I wanted to be feared by men and lusted by women,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that went on like that till like, a few months ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Last week.
No, for a long time. For a long, long time, man. But in the back of my mind, I really wanted to be a musician. But it didn't really go with this thug thing I had going, man.
Can't be up there playing acoustic guitar and then whooping people's ass in the back.
Right.
So this is before NWA, then apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it didn't fit. Like I didn't see anybody I could emulate. Like, man, And I found cool records, dude. I was a bit of a trash picker, so I had a proclivity for dumpster diving, and coming up
that
with
shit too, man.
Cool stuff, dude. Somebody throw out their Playboys, right?
Oh, all day. I remember that.
That's how I found out. We had a fort out I used to make elaborate forts, dude. I loved Bugs Bunny's house. Remember, Bugs Bunny would shoot down the hole, hers towels and shit. And so I would build these underground, semi-underground forts. Anyway, we'd be out there flipping through,
The penthouse.
little hard-ons, don't even know what's going on. You can't flip through the pages fast enough, and you're like just blowing your mind, or running down the street with the load, and you're dropping them, and you're like, oh shit, feels like you just robbed a bank.
It's like naked pictures blowing down the street behind you on your bike.
I'll never forget dumpster diving one time, and this girl threw a bunch of like porn mags, and she had like a box of dental dams, dude, like a whole bunch of them just in there. And me and my friends are fucking opening them up, and she's yelling at us through her screen door in the back, and she could see us in the trash can and shit. That's funny, man.
Dude, that's how we found the lightsaber, man. I tell you that.
The pieces are coming together, man.
Yeah, bro. I was out there diving, man. And it's Sunday morning, mom's cooking breakfast. Dad's home, right? Sleeping or something, right? And I go, Jason, it's time for breakfast. Go take out the trash. Okay, do. I go out there, take out the trash. And, it's Arizona. It's hot. If you take out the trash, a kid in Arizona, you pick the lid, you throw it in, and you go,
yeah, exactly.
You blow it out.
Yeah.
Your head, right? But something caught my eye, dude, right there. I saw a little glimmer down there. Something. I'm a professional, bro. I saw a treasure down there. That was the first movie I ever saw, was the original Star Wars, right? Blew my mind, dude. And,
Did you see it or smell it first?
Dude, listen. Hey, I saw that down there. I'm like, holy shit, it's a lightsaber, dude. It still work, dude. I'm like, fuck. They're like, man, may the force be with you. Man, I can't wait to show my mom this. I go blasting through the gate. Into the house, dude. My mom's got her back turned. She's on the griddle making. I said, Mom, may the force be with you. She turned around. I put that sucker right on the end of her nose, like, bzz. She, ah! Boo, she slapped that thing across the room, bro. Mike, she's screaming for my dad. And I'm like, fuck my life, man. You know, I can't have anything cool, man. And fucking dumping Comet all over my head and my hands, the green powder, you know, like, get it, grab it with the tongs and shit. It was a dirty ass old dildo, man. That was in the dumpster, man. Like all yellowed, just 1970s, just like a nurse, cylindrical, nasty.
Shit had some mileage on it, bro.
Yeah, bro. Big old double D battery. I don't know when.
No.
That's great.
I can't remember when I found out what that actually was, man. But I just
That's
was,
so fucking
it was
funny,
just
man.
another fucking thing in my horrible life, right? Something for me to complain about.
That's some funny shit.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, dude. But look, I wanted to be one of the. I was attracted to I played sports. I played competitive soccer. I played all kinds of stuff. I didn't have any encouragement, right? You know, you encourage your kids, man. If they want to do something or they have showing interest, you like give them the stuff. Like, okay, yeah, you know, and like encourage them. Right? We just didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining, man. You know, what I'm saying is my dad didn't have that, you know, so he didn't know about that, you know. And he was an odd duck, man. He came from a family, you know, super athletic, crazy, tough, you know, mean people, dude. And he was an artist. Temper like a motherfucker. He fit right in, you know, but he didn't have that, right? So I didn't have it. And so it just led me more toward, I found a skateboard, Social Distortion tape.
Oh yeah.
And a bottle of Jack Daniels all in the same summer, man. I was 12 years old, bro. And it was on like Donkey Kong, bro. I was like, fuck you. Yeah, fuck everybody. Fucking anarchy.
Yeah.
Eat a dick. And, you know, came home with a mohawk one day and that turned into a buzz cut as soon as my dad saw it. So, you know, I remember right when I started to get cool, man, my dad's like, you're going to be an altar boy.
Oh man.
Yeah, one of the lucky ones, come to find out, dude. But yeah, I had a derelict cousin living with us at the time.
Untouchables.
Yeah, and I was
Oh,
just starting to get a rep, dude. And they want to put me in a dress, man. And I wear this wooden dove around my neck and carry the fucking thing. Dude, here it is. We'd be in the back before church, man, digging our hand in the big bag of the body of Christ, you know, eating.
Bro, I used to do that same shit, man.
Yeah, like, it's hungry, dude. It's breakfast time, right? Pass me that Blue Nun. We'd be back there, you know, drinking the Blue Nun. But
Oh man.
priest couldn't smell it. His breath smelled like alcohol, too. And
Yeah,
didn't really matter, right?
exactly.
Oh man.
And so that didn't last either. We got kicked out of that.
Good move.
Yeah. It's so with the drugs. When did it, you know, it's that thing, man. You didn't.
Well, I kind of got a question about your pops, man. Like you said, he's an artist. He's painted his whole life.
Yeah.
Who
He's a
encouraged
painter.
him to get started with doing
Nobody,
that? Did you know?
nobody, dude. He just did it, right? He just did it, and that's what he wanted to do. And if you look at his first paintings he was doing, he used to have this wood shop, and I hated it, man, because he was a master carpenter, woodworker, sculptor, painter,
That's
everything.
dope.
Self-taught, man. Like, incredible.
That's
Dude, you
crazy.
can get online and look at my dad's, you know, Z Gallery. And he's in galleries here in Tucson, actually. He lives in Sierra Vista. He's in the middle of nowhere there and with his wife. And, but yeah, they made prints for years. He was one of the only artists, you know, they sell, you can go to Target or Bed Bath and Beyond and you're flipping through the prints. You know, my dad's stuff is in there.
Oh,
That's
shit.
cool.
So he's
man.
like, he sells records, right? They're paintings, and he was the only guy. Usually when you do that, you're not allowed to put your name on your paintings, but my dad was always like, fuck you, my name's always going on the painting.
man.
And so he has artwork out there. Matter of fact, I got online because I wanted to see how much I was going to, you know, be able to recompensate myself when he croaked. And they're selling. I told him that, dude. I said, how much you worth, man? You know, I'm joking. I said, I looked and they sell them privately, you know, like
That's cool.
and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
He always says, he goes, I'm the king of the worst ideas to do for a living, right? But he was amazing, man. He taught himself. So we'd go to this shop. He had this shop and he had these badass machines, dude, like the old school stuff, the iron, you know, take 5 guys to move the table saw type thing, not the little craftsman fold out shit.
Yeah.
Like the real giant routers and everything.
Wow.
And then he would make me sit there, like, you know, that's hard for a fucking 6-year-old. Sit there while he drew me and painted, you know, sometimes. And he would do that stuff. And I hated going there. I would cry, man, because I didn't want to go with him, man. We just were like that. He didn't understand me, and he could never connect to me, and I couldn't stand him. And so that fueled a lot of my angst, you know, like you're going to be angry at somebody. I tell my kids, or I tell a friend, hey, my kids, I was telling Zane, you know, he's like, my kid. I said, dude, look, they're at that age. They got to be pissed off at somebody. You're it right now. Just own it and be there when they're done, you know. It's better than being ignored.
Yeah.
You know,
We
so
can only do the best we can at that time.
exactly, dude. It's just that.
And we
rips
usually
it.
suck. You
Right,
know, I mean,
exactly.
we usually fail.
Exactly. I mean, life's really nothing but a bunch of mistakes. It's a bunch of what not to do's,
Yeah.
and it's about kind of how many times you're going to make the same one over and over again.
Yeah, for people like us, that's the tough one.
Yeah, that's what
Right.
brings us back to the addiction topic,
Yeah.
right?
You know, and
I was able to do anything I've ever put my mind to, bro. I've had that ability, and I always knew I had it. And it starts from that young kid getting into fights with. I was always picking dudes older than me, bigger than me. I wanted the biggest upset always. The worst thing that could happen was I'd get my ass kicked. And I don't want to spend too much time on that. I've already talked about it too much, but I did everything. I got my ass whooped a few times pretty good, you know, usually drunk. Usually I was drunk, dude, and too drunk, and I lost a couple, you know, but chicks that I had no business dating, right? Over-chaired, we used to call it in the car business. That's too much chair for you, buddy. You know what I mean? If I wanted to learn how to do something, I taught myself how to play guitar, man. You know, eventually I did start playing music. And I remember I was failing miserably in high school, and the drugs, you know, I started drinking 12 years old, right? And by the time I was 17, I was already trying to quit. I went to my first AA meeting at 18 years old. The Tempe bloopers, I'll never forget that, man. 18 years old.
Wow.
I had this problem. Every time I drank, I got in trouble or would end up smoking crack. Yep. I was probably a sophomore when you know, I remember the first time I tried cocaine was down in Guadalupe, because after you shed blood on the battlefield, right, you become like brothers with these dudes.
Yeah.
Man. I'm still friends with a lot of these guys today, man. I would go down the hood down there and we'd party. And I remember the first time I snorted coke, man, I was like, they were telling me like, hey, Longo, man, shut up, S.A., you keep talking too much. Dude, I'm like telling my life story. Hey, Longo, shut up, hey, you know. And I
Definitely
loved
the uppers.
Definitely the uppers, man. I loved it. And then strolled into a bathroom in high school at a party, you know, and I was always gravitating to the ones that were a little bit edgier than what was going on, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to be in the bathroom. What's going on in the bathroom? It was lines, but we graduated pace. I was going on in the bathroom, and I remember Andy Munoz and Brad Herman was his name, man. And they were in there, and they had a foil and a toilet paper roll,
Oh shit.
baking soda,
Yeah.
and they were smearing on there. And I said, what's that? And he said, here, hit it. Buddy, it was over.
Yeah.
I hit that, and I thought, holy shit. And it wasn't long after that I met another dude, always up in my game. Older kids, more gnarly. You know, now I've dropped out of high school. Now I'm hanging out with, like, I thought I was a thug. Well, I had graduated to the real thugs. I was the youngster. I was the, hey, man, quit doing that. Like, all these dudes could with me, you know, and they're a few years older, already been to prison, you know, the whole thing. And it was, here's crack. A couple of them, you know. And so then we'd go have a party, and we'd be in the back, and we'd come out 2 days later from a bedroom, and there's beer cans and shit everywhere. We'd been in the bedroom like for 2 days, you know, smoking crack. And then how do you get that? Well, you got to go down to the hood back in those days, and you got to rob people, and you stick out like a sore thumb. You're white, and you know, it's all a black neighborhood down there, and there's stories with that too, man. Like just crazy shit. I should have had my head shot off, you know, how many times.
Hence, real quick though, honey badger's his nickname, right?
Yeah.
You can't kill the fucking honey badger, right?
Crazy.
If nobody's seen that, look up that video on YouTube, the honey
Great,
badger.
yeah. It's a great.
Guys would call me honey badger for a while. And I was kind of like, that's weird. You know, I wonder why they do that.
Yeah.
Honey badger, I don't know what that must be. I don't even know what that is, dude. I thought it was supposed to be cool. And then I saw this fucking video
Right.
The honey badger's a bad motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
eating a cobra and
Yeah.
it kills him and he wakes up, or he just passes out. He wakes up and starts eating it again.
And he's
Yeah.
dead.
He's killing shit. People are taking his food and he's like, fucking, he's a wreck. He's a fucking wreck. I'm like,
And everybody thinks honey badger's dead.
Yeah.
Honey badger don't give a fuck. He's up fucking chasing something else,
Yeah.
dude. Fucking 2 minutes later.
yeah. Dude, I could do anything I put my mind to, man. And I had a lot of confidence in that. And when it came into tempting death or tempting danger mixed with addiction, you know, that desire to try that. Hey, you've heard the stories. That's, you know, Coke. You don't, you know, that's heroin. That's this. I was always, but it's me. I can quit. I can do anything I put my mind to. And I continue to do anything I put my mind to, except for stay sober. I could never stay sober continuously. I started at 18 years old. Look, the typical story that just gets worse. Never gets better.
What's going on, guys? I'm so sorry to have to do it to you, but we're going to have to stop this episode right here. Thank you guys so much for listening, and make sure you tune in next week for part 2 of this week's episode. Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Much love. God bless. Peace. What's going on, everybody? This is Buddha from the Arcast, and I just wanted to thank you for checking out this week's episode. It means a lot, and if you could share it with a friend or a loved one, somebody you need in recovery, or maybe somebody who just needs that little bit of extra positivity in their life, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to join us here on the Arcast, either in the studio live or online, hit us up. The links are down in the show notes of this episode, and on there, you can find direct links to our main website here at Americas Rehab Campus and all of our social media platforms. Follow us. We keep the posts positive and motivational, focused on recovery, health, and wellness. As you know, in this modern day and age, we need as much love as possible, y'all. And as always, if you or somebody you know is in need of substance abuse treatment, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're open 24 hours a day, and our direct phone number is 1-833-272-7342. Once again, that phone number is 1-833-272-7342. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and God bless. Peace.